I was in a crazy lightning storm. There were hurricane winds, a sandstorm, trees were falling over, lightning on top of me, fires were starting, there was even a tornado. Recently, I was over at a friend's house and we were just digging a trench in the backyard, and there were some dark clouds off in the distance, and I was checking my phone to see where the nearest lightning was, and it wasn't that close. So we knew a lightning storm was a possibility, but the one we had that day was like no other I have experienced in my entire life. We noticed that this dark gray cloud is coming over us, and I hear this sound off in the distance, just a faint little roar or whatever, just a and then I look off a couple properties down and I see this tree just bent over, just getting blasted by the wind. And a few seconds later, we get bombarded with wind. This is a 40-mile-an-hour wind that just started kicking up all the dirt from the ground, and it was pelting us in the back. Like, we had to make ourselves small so you don't get dirt just stabbing you. This mini sandstorm went on for about 2 minutes. Once it died down, then we started hearing some thunder. And the thunder wasn't off in the distance thunder. This was thunder coming from above us. So we decided to go undercover instead of being out in this open field with metal shovels in our hands. As soon as we get under the porch of this house, the wind instantly shifts 90 degrees. The cell was forming literally on top of our heads. Within a couple minutes, it started pouring rain, and then wind just came ripping through the yard. You thought 40-mile-an-hour winds were crazy with the sand? Now we're talking winds that uprooted trees. We saw multiple giant branches off of their trees just go crashing down. The wind was going so fast, the rain off of the roofs wasn't falling. It was flying. It just kept getting louder and louder and even faster and faster winds. The airport nearby claims they were around 70 to 90 mile an hour winds. That's freaking insanity. So 5 or 10 minutes go by and the wind finally calms down a little bit and the lightning's moving off a couple miles, and we see there's some fires starting off in the distance. The rain must have come back and put them out later because they were gone a few hours later. It was really weird though, because then the storm started coming back towards us. And this time with hail, the size of quarters. All of you have probably seen hail, just the little ice chunks that are very tiny. We're talking 2 fingers, 3 finger size hail. Freaking gigantic hail that destroyed the shingles on our roof. And then the lightning started hitting the ground. We could see some of the lightning just jumping across the entire sky, really cool. But there was a couple lightning strikes that were literally a couple properties down that went to the ground. It was a flash bang, but it was more flash boom. It was really cool, really awesome sound. Lightning is crazy. And it was still a little bit scary because we were still outside and this was happening literally 0.1 miles away from us. Eventually, the storm did trickle out, but the nearby airport, though, they got a picture of a tornado forming. And I don't live in a place where we get tornadoes. The 90-mile-an-hour winds and the 90-degree wind shifts, that's the kind of stuff that forms those tornadoes. Besides for the lightning, it was very fun, just because it's insane that those kind of wind speeds can happen. Between the winds, the lightning, the hail, the fires, the tornado, it was freaking insanity. So that's the story of me being outside during the craziest storm I've ever been in my entire life.